Three things you must know before you start investing in creative real estate strategies like subject twos, lease options, master leases, creating notes, wholesaling, etc. Now, I want to get right to the point because it's so important. I see so many of my students get it confused because they've gone to other places, and when they come, it's hard for them to unlearn what they've learned. Now, before I start, you guys were wondering what I was doing. I was just being calm and enjoying the nature, the birds, the water fountain before the pollution invaded the airplane. Um, and I wanted to let you guys know I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to share with you the three things you must know before investing in creative real estate investing, or you'll throw your hat up and say this thing doesn't work. So let's pull the curtain back and get started. Number one, this is the most important thing. So listen up and listen up good. Number one, lead generation. If you cannot generate leads, you're going to go out of business. Simple as that. So if you spend all the time and energy learning about, for example, X strategy, Y strategy, how to do this, how to do this, how to do this, but you spend zero time or you don't like to generate leads, then you're going to be very, very quickly bankrupt. I don't care if you're a real estate agent, if you're a real estate investor, or you're just a business owner, entrepreneur. The very first thing is lead generation. Now, there's two ways to generate leads, which is free, which is called creativity or guerrilla marketing, and then two, which is basically the dollar sign, like, hey, let me run an ad in a magazine, or let me rap at the city bus. Okay, so there's two ways to do marketing. So the very first thing, again, most important, is lead generation. I don't care if you know about how to structure deals, you know how to negotiate, you know how to filter, you know how to give offers, you know what a subject to is, you know what a master lease is, you know what a sandwich is, you know all these cool things. But if no one's knocking on your door, then you're never going to be able to use any of these strategies to help someone else out and make money for yourself. So the very first thing for your success is lead production. All right, now let's go into the second. Now, what I'm telling you is totally different than what most REI club or seminars tell you because they want to give you something complex to sell you on something. What I want to show you the simplest way for you to be your dreams, right? And so the number two thing after lead production, the most important thing you must know is, what do you think? Hey, it's a great opportunity to leave it now. What do you think the most important thing is? Well, is your ability to build rapport with the seller. Okay. Because in this business of creative real estate financing, where you're doing so buying a house with no money down, or you're buying a house without using your credit, or you're just taking over someone's payment, or you're doing like a loan modification or a short sale, or if you're doing a lease option or a master lease or equity maximizers, or all any of these kind of things, you're not dealing with banks. You're not dealing with, real estate agent. You're dealing with average individuals that have a home and they have a motivated situation, like they're behind in their payments, or there's a death in the family, or something situation. So they have a motivated situation. Sometimes I categorize in two types. Sometimes I call it emotional motivation. Other times it's financial motivation. And in my opinion, the best ones for me are the emotional motivation because they're the one that has the most equity. But both motivation are money makers if you know how to solve the problem, which just comes down to like the learning process. Like, okay, but if you spend all your time learning and you don't learn how to generate leads, which is the first process, then all the learning you've done is not going to do you anything. So lead generation, two, the ability for you to build rapport with the seller and have him or her like you and build trust in you. And because you're the authority and you're educating them and you're putting yourself aside, and it's not about you making a sell, or you're just pit bull pushy sales guy, or you're just a passive sales guy and you're just thinking about you, me. See, sometimes you don't make any money, but you help someone out. Okay. So if you have that mindset, then you're going to be able to build a relationship, because like with your friends, you're not thinking about like, how can I sell them this? How can I sell them this? Some of you ladies may be, but then you may not have good friends, but you're not trying to do that with your friends or family. Um, and so you're going to talk to these sellers the same exact way without that selling them something. So you build credibility, you build trust, they like you, they trust you, and so they're willing to do a deal, which normally is called creative because it's new. People just know the traditional way. Well, I just listed with a real estate agent, they pay off my mortgage. Anything else different is called creative. And so they're not going to be willing to accept creativity unless there's trust and credibility in you. Okay. So the second most important thing is you and the seller have to, well, the seller has to like you. And of course, you got to like them if you want to help them out. So it has to be a both way win win situation. Okay. Now, the third part, this is the most controversy, because all the other places that I've gone through, they emphasize the Western academic school system philosophy, which is, hey, you go to high school, hey, then you go to college, and you get a cubicle, you sit and the work, and all that is someone's speaking, and you're taking notes. They're lecturing, you're taking notes, and you're just learning in your brain, and you got to take a test. However, entrepreneurship, having a business, being a real estate investor, being a real estate agent, or any of this thing I just mentioned is nothing like that. If entrepreneurship and being an investor is like playing piano, what's going to require is you get in the front and have practice. It's kind of like playing baseball. What it's going to require is you to get into the batting cage and keep hitting the ball, so you build some kind of relationship with your eye and your neural muscle cell, so you can know if it's a softball, know if it's a fastball, how much you need to hit, how slow you need to come, and all this thing needs to happen in nanoseconds. That's why you need to practice. You could never learn to hit the ball by just reading and listening to lecture. Okay, so entrepreneurship and being a real estate investor is totally different than academia. So what is point number three? What am I trying to explain? What am I painting this picture for you? The more you learn, the more confused you're going to be, and the unlikelihood of you're going to do a deal. Because the more you learn, the more you're going to know that, what if this can go wrong? What if this can go wrong? Well, I don't have the answer to this. I don't have the answer to this, which causes confusion. And when you're having confusion, you're like the deer in the light. You're like, why? Because that's what it is. That's what we're hard programmed as mammals to be like that, because of the fight and flight, and therefore you're not going to take any action. So the problem I have with most schools and academies that teach real estate is they teach you the college way, where there's some guy lecturing and you're taking notes or you're buying something, but you don't get into the batting ring and practice throwing that ball over and over till you're able to hit it successfully over and over, and you can learn the business. And so the most important thing before you get into creative real estate investing is you got to know that the more you learn, the less likely you are to succeed, because more likely the stuff you learn is going to make you learn a bunch of new stuff. Then you're going to have more questions. Then you're going to go explore these ideas. And before you knew it, you're doing a little circle, but you're never moving forward and actually doing a deal. If you want to do a deal, the most important thing is to generate leads. When the leads come in, to build rapport with them, so the seller actually trusts you. And number three is don't learn so much till you get to the point where you need that information. For example, the very first thing is if you want to start in real estate investing, or as you want to start a business, it doesn't matter if you want to start a cookie business, you want to be a personal trainer, hairstylist, you want to be a photographer, you want to have a pizza business, you want to have a real estate investing business, realtor, doesn't matter. The very first thing is, can you generate leads? Because if you can generate leads, then you're going to have success. But if you can't generate leads and you go buy all the hardware and you buy all your equipment, then the odds are 9 out of 10 you're not going to succeed, because 1 out of 10 businesses go bankrupt. Sorry, that's my kid. I was making sure she was all right. She's with her mom in the back. We're at the park, because we don't have jobs and we don't work for anyone. I follow my heart and my dreams, and I'm encouraging you guys to be what you want to be in life. Okay, so let's summarize it up. The most three important things if you want to get into real estate, creative real estate investing, where you can buy houses with no money down, without having credit, taking over people's payments, okay, etc., is that one, you got to be able to generate leads. Two, when the leads come in, you got to build rapport with the seller above and beyond. Hey, how's it going? And asking them a bunch of questions or stuff that doesn't make sense, right? That's not building relationships. And three, if you learn too much before you have leads, you're going to be in a trap of this circular searching and learning and never doing deals. The way I teach at Mr. No Fluff at our profit sharing coaching is, I have my students generate leads. When the leads come, then they go learn what they need, because every situation is different and they need different types of learning. So generate leads, people start calling them and messaging them, says, look, I want to sell my house, I'm motivated. Then they're gonna need the next tool that's gonna show them what to do, then the next tool that's gonna show them what to do, versus selling you a course and say, okay, adios amigos, good luck to you. Hopefully you'll do a deal. And that's what's wrong with our system, with the educational system. And since I went to junior high, high school, college, and I think it's a scam, so I didn't want to have the dojo that way. And I reflected on, how did I learn wrestling? How did I learn X, Y, Z? It took a long time, and I had to get into the ring and practice over and over and over. And I thought about, how can I have my students have the same success, even if they're just my YouTube subscribers or Facebook subscribers or what have you, which is lead generation. If you want to be a real estate agent and no one's calling you, you want to be a real estate investor and no one's calling you, no one wants to sell you their home, well, how great is it that you have a great logo? How great is it that you learn how to, buy mobile homes, you learn how to buy land, commercial property? How great is it that you know this formula and that formula? How great is it that you know all this stuff? That stuff doesn't matter until you have someone knocking on your door and says, look, I want to sell my house. I'm going to a divorce. And that's the key. The key is, can you find people to knock on your door and says, look, and if you can do that, you're 90% there. If you're able to generate leads, you're 90% there, even if you don't know nothing. Because when I first started in real estate, I didn't know anything. My dad sold ice cream in an ice cream truck. My mom's illiterate. I didn't know anything. But I was able to generate a lot of leads, where I would have walls around my office this high of leads, of people calling the last recession, because there was a tsunami of foreclosure that happened 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, etc. And in 2019, the same thing's going to be happening very, very soon. And so that's why I figured I'd make these videos for you guys. So if you're in the trap of just learning, and you haven't talked to no sellers, well, you got sold to. Guys, jab the like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know that if you have any cryptocurrencies. If you do, why did you buy it? If you don't, why didn't you buy it? I'm very interested to read about it. And don't forget, join me this Saturday. Every Saturday,